Yeah, Chicago school. Maybe that's a little bit of an exception.
I see. Well, the Chicago school would be partially an exception. Although one of the things you see in both Albion Small, the founder of the Chicago Sociology Department, and Robert Park, the real founder of the Chicago School, as it's often called, even though they studied in Germany and studied a kind of a historicist version of social science there, when they came back to the United States, and this is especially true, I think, of Park, seemed to immediately adapt to the reigning philosophical premises and dominant approaches within American sociology. So you see Park in his famous sociology textbook from the 1920s, Park and Burgess, declaring that sociology is a natural science, is close to the natural sciences, or should aspire to be a natural science. Well, that is exactly the opposite of the historicist approach that he'd been educated in when he was in Germany, which was the famous distinction that Windelband had elaborated between the ideographic and the nomothetic sciences. And sociology was, for Windelband and his followers, on the side of the ideographic. Now, of course, Rickert tried to, I think, square the circle by showing that you could combine, that was an artificial distinction between the ideographic and the nomothetic, and that sociology should be both, like the other human sciences, concerned with unique historical individuals, to use his term, the historical individual, but to explain them in a nomothetic way. So it was both ideographic and nomothetic. I think when Park came back to the Chicago School, he readapted to the reigning semi-positivistic or empiricist ways of approaching, or even scientistic way of understanding sociology as a quasi-natural science. Nonetheless, the Chicago School of Sociology represented, I guess, a different pole from the Columbia School, which was the other reigning school of sociology at the time, insofar as they were studying a historical individual, namely a neighborhood in Chicago, a specific set of people in Chicago, the hobo in the famous study of the hobo, or the studies of specific neighborhoods in Chicago. These, in a sense, accentuated the individuality of the place, even while often trying to embed it within a general theoretical explanation.
And also a willingness to look at individual sets of social phenomena without presuming that there's one theory which encompasses all of them.
Yes, yeah. So in that sense, I guess you could say there was a kind of a continuity, although as far as, I don't know if anyone's ever actually explored those continuities between Park's German training and the individualizing approach of the case study in the Chicago School, but that would be
I think of American pragmatism as being an important part of kind of the intellectual context. Is that just incorrect?
No, I think there would be connections between the pragmatism, for example, or the critical realist / pragmatism of someone like Peirce, and the emphasis on the emphasis in the Chicago School on combining attention to the individual case and also providing some sort of generalizable or quasi-generalizable mechanism-based explanation of that case. I guess there would be. There are connections. And in the case of the Michigan Sociology Department, which was founded by Charles Cooley, who also elaborated a kind of a variant on, or even a dissenting approach to the dominant scientistic, naturalistic version of American sociology, he was deeply influenced, from what I understand, by his studies with Dewey, when he had, I guess, briefly taught at Michigan for a few years, and Cooley and he had interacted. So you could probably do a genealogy of the alternative epistemologies within American sociology that would trace them either to pragmatism or to some contact with the historicism of German historical economics, in Small's case, or philosophical historicism in Park's case.